Hello. Today I would like to discuss double standards and how we can tackle them by changing our perspectives. To do this, we must understand that that everybody views the world through a different perspective and that our perspective is shaped by many things and that no matter what, everybody will see things differently. Take the movie Fight Club, for example. To any rational human being, it would be commentary on the needlessness of violence. But to an emo teenage boy, it would be like an instruction guide for life. Our perspective is deeply powerful because it is shaped by socialization. Socialization is shaped by the world around us, the way we live, our families, our religion, our gender, our culture. And so since we as people are far from perfect, it makes sense that our perspective is far from perfect as well. Double standards can cause us to look at two strikingly similar things in two strikingly different ways. For example, let's look at a woman who's staying at home and taking care of her children. We have no strong reaction when we see this. We see it as her preordained job. This is just what she's meant to do. But if we saw a man do the same thing, we would be in awe of him and struck with the need to praise him for taking care of his own children. Why do we look at it this way? Because of socialization. Socialization is to blame for this phenomenon. From when we were younger, we were raised to believe that women are the nurturers and the homemakers, while men are the breadwinners. From the cartoons we watched, My Little Pony for girls, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for boys, the toys that we played with, toy kitchens and dolls for girls, while boys played with pretend tools. So can we really be blamed for feeling the need to praise a man for taking care of his kids when we see it as a busy man taking time off his hectic schedule to look after his children? It's not that we need to be blamed for it, it's that we need to reassess why we're doing this. Because it's not fair that men should be praised endlessly for doing what women are expected to do every day without complaint and without praise. Double standards can also account for how we categorize different behaviors and hobbies. For example, if a little girl were to ask her parents to try out for the soccer team, she would be praised and encouraged, whereas if a boy were to ask for a toy kitchen, he would be mocked. We shouldn't mock young boys for taking an interest in behaviors that we have deemed feminine, because at the end of the day, both cooking and sports are interesting and worthwhile behaviors and career opportunities. The things we have randomly deemed feminine, we also deem weak, inferior, flimsy, while the things we deem masculine are strong, important, and at this point almost gender neutral, and it really isn't fair. It's important for us to assess gender norms and criticize expectations and gendered behaviors. But at the same time, we can do this without randomly deeming the things that we have deemed feminine as inferior or weak. Double standards can also make us look at different types of women differently. For example, during the first wave of feminism, white feminists sought to exclude women of color from their movements. Feminism was built on the idea that women are equal to men and worthy of liberation. Yet for some reason, women of color were excluded from this. We can even see this in modern day. For example, when the war in Ukraine broke out, everybody sided with Ukraine women, rightfully. But in Palestine, Palestinian women are ignored and shunned. How is that fair? It's not. It's because when we look at different types of women, racial bigotry comes out. And although we may see ourselves as progressive, we may not always act the way we thought that we would. Even racial fighters and men who fought for racial liberation excluded women from their own movements, and it made no sense to me originally when I studied this. Because why would you, as someone who prized freedom and racial liberation, exclude your own women from your movements? It's simple. Socialization has caused them to see their own women differently, to see women as inferior, weak, and to see their own personalities as needless compared to that of men. And that explains why they excluded them. I'm not attempting to justify this behavior, but simply to explain it and to explain how socialization impacts our perspective. It's important for us to self-assess why we see different things differently, especially when it comes to gender and gender roles. Because at the end of the day, perspective is not a fact. Perspective is cultural and personal, not universal. And that's why we can change our perspectives if we work hard enough. We can assess our own thoughts, opinions, and beliefs through careful self-judgment. We can read a range of literature by a range of culturally diverse women. We can watch movies directed by women from all over the world with so many different opinions. Because though it is not our fault that we were born into this world and we were born to certain families with certain ideas and ideals, it is our responsibility to slowly build up our education and force ourselves to reassess our perspectives. I hope that you can look at the world from a different view. Thank you.